Wall Street veteran Bernard Madoff has been arrested and charged with running a $50 billion Ponzi scheme.
Congress wants to know what caused the Enron meltdown.
Now, while the collective rage currently is focused on WorldCom,
Tyco CEO Dennis Kozlowski was convicted of looting hundreds of millions of dollars.
This is one of the biggest fraud cases ever.
Their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Find out more on this week's episode of White Collars, Red Hands.
He could get away with murder is a phrase people will say when someone is exceptionally charming and witty. A person who can con people, or at least buy their way out of a situation. We see this happen all the time with celebrities, politicians, or anyone who has money, really. To this day, people question the innocence of O.J. Simpson or Michael Jackson. Did they really do the crimes that they committed? Or did they just have enough money to buy their way out of their situation? Today, we look at Cullen Davis, a prominent Texan oil tycoon who had the death of two people pinned on him. Did he actually do it? Find out on the season 20 finale of White Collars, Red Hands.
But no one questions the innocence of Suge Knight, so as a counterpoint, right?
You have to be likable too.
Yeah, that's Suge Knight is not is not likable. I've heard he's not a cool guy to get along with. Yeah.
No. Well, welcome back to the finale of season 20 of White Collars, Red Hands.
I am Kishan.
And I'm Nina. This is a pretty fun episode, pretty easy to digest. So,
pretty fun. It just involves the murder of two people.
Okay, fine. You're right.
So lighthearted. Yeah. Well, at least they're not babies like last week, so.
Yeah, true. No dead babies this week, but a dead minor. I will.
Oh no, the black lung.
Huh?
The black lung? A dead minor?
Oh. No, an underage child. Or an underage person. Person under the age of 18.
Oh, that's not fun.
No. I will give a trigger warning. This episode, we talk about death. Obviously, we talk about domestic violence. Okay? So I'm going to try to remember to give another trigger warning before I talk about the domestic violence. But if those are subjects that you are sensitive to, maybe fast forward through those parts of the episode. Okay. Let's lay the scene. It was August 2nd, 1976, Fort Worth, Texas. The blonde bombshell, Priscilla Davis, and her boyfriend, Stan Farr, which is not Stand Far, It's Stan Farr.
That guy Stan Farr, he always sounds like, hey, what are you doing? I literally couldn't even hear you. You just backed up, and from my perspective and the people at home's perspective, you just were silent, which is almost funnier, actually.
Yeah, I was talking really quiet. So, anyways. So they went out to dinner. Priscilla Davis and Stan Farr went out to dinner, leaving Priscilla's 12-year-old daughter, Andrea Wilborn, home alone. It is not Andrea. It is not Andrea. It's Andrea. Because that's how her mom said it, okay?
Whatever you say.
The couple lived in Davis's soon-to-be ex-husband's $6 million mansion and had plans of marrying when her divorce was finalized. When Priscilla and Farr returned home from dinner, or supper, as they call it in Texas, they were met with a man in a long black wig carrying a revolver. Priscilla recalls that the wig was not even on straight.
Oh man, couldn't even get his wig cap right.
Couldn't even get the wig cap.
Amateur.
No cap. He had no cap. Priscilla Davis remembers the shooter saying, "Hi," and then he shot her in the chest. Upon hearing the gunshot, Farr ran down the steps. Priscilla Davis shouted at him to get away and to not come to the kitchen. Farr shut the door at the bottom of the staircase, but the shooter fired the gun through the door, murdering Stan Farr. Davis ran out of the house. when she was shot in the chest, she was shot in the right side of the chest and the bullet went through her chest, straight through her body. So she did not, she was able to do all this. Priscilla Davis ran out of the house, the shooter pursuing her. He grabbed her by the arm and she pleaded with him to let her go, that they could talk things through. It was at this time a car pulled into the driveway. And as they were pulling into the driveway, Priscilla Davis broke free from the shooter and hid behind the bush. Who was in the car? 2 family friends. Beverly Bass, who was still in high school, senior in high school, slightly problematic, and then her then boyfriend, later husband, Gus Bubba Gavril. Slightly problematic. Beverly was a senior in high school and 18, and Bubba was 22, and Priscilla was in her 30s. And
weird friends, but okay.
Yeah, the whole situation is weird. I also do think Stan Farr was considerably younger than Priscilla. But anyways, when they got out of the car, they went to the door. They rounded the house to go to the door. And that was when they saw the shooter and they recognized him. Then the shooter shot Bubba.
No, not Bubba.
Beverly, a track star, high school track star, took off and hurdled the fence. Priscilla Davis escaped to the neighbor's house. Priscilla Davis survived the attempted murder. Bubba also survived the shooting, but was left paralyzed. But there was another casualty in the home. Davis's 12-year-old daughter, Andrea. She was found in the basement. She was found in the basement closet with a gunshot wound in the chest. However, in this case, there was no question of who done it. Priscilla knew exactly who killed her daughter and her boyfriend. It was her soon-to-be ex-husband, Cullen Davis. Which, to be fair, he was not wearing a mask. He was only wearing a wig.
But if Superman taught us anything, just one small change.
His glasses.
Oh my God, who is that? Who is that?
All I'm saying is, have you ever seen Cullen Davis and the guy with the black wig in the same room?
Can't say that I have.
Can't say that I have. But who is Cullen Davis? Who is this guy? So Cullen Davis was an heir to a Texas oil tycoon. And, people say that, people talk about people, oh, they lit up the room. Oh, they're such a nice guy. Oh, they're so fun to be around. No. He was never really remembered that way. People say he was not kind. He was not a fun person to be around. Most people said that Davis had a really bad temper and women found him creepy. In 1962, he married his first wife, Sandra Master, and the couple had 2 sons, Cullen Jr. and Brian. In 1967, Davis was introduced to a beautiful woman with big blonde hair named Priscilla Lee Wilborn on a tennis court in Fort Worth. At the time, Priscilla was going through a nasty divorce. A divorce so bad that Davis says that he remembers feeling sorry for her. But what could make her feel better? That D. So both Priscilla and Cullen Davis separated from their spouses. Well, she was already going through a divorce, but he separated from his spouse, and they entered into a spicy love affair. The 2 married on August 29th, 1968, in a small private ceremony after Davis's father passed away from former stroke complications. So, yeah, they had the wedding planned already, right? And
but come on. It feels like not the right choice.
They couldn't get the deposit back, Sean.
He's rich. Who cares?
You know how hard it is to book a wedding venue?
No.
Have you tried to plan a wedding recently?
I'm also not the son of an oil tycoon, though. It's probably a lot easier when you're the son of an oil tycoon.
Yeah, probably.
Just like everything else in life. It's easier.
They went through with it. I thought it was weird. I thought it was very weird to get married the day that your father dies. But anyways, his death. So T. Cullen Davis was already rich, right? His dad is an oil tycoon. He's already in the oil business, but his father's death made him much richer. T. Cullen Davis had two brothers. The three brothers split the fortune evenly, and now his wealth exponentially grew. So much so that during their marriage, they built that mansion that I was talking about, that $6 million mansion. Now I think it's the equivalent of $45 million. The mansion had 5 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, and a pool with an indoor pool and a 2,000 square foot master bedroom.
What are you doing with 11 bathrooms? Like, you're like, I can't walk more than 30 feet to take a dump, so I'm going to need 5 more of these bathrooms.
Well, when your bedroom is 2,000 square feet, that's the size of a house.
I mean, yeah, but 11 bathrooms?
You could ride a bike in a 2,000 square foot bedroom.
I'm not saying it's not big. I'm just saying, do you need double the bathrooms that you have bedrooms? This just seems like a crazy ratio.
No, I have less bathrooms than bedrooms in my apartment.
I feel like that's normal.
That is normal. Where was that? Okay. However, yeah, they built that mansion. Yeah, they've got all this money, but his dad died right before their wedding. The marriage is starting off on a rocky start. There's joy, but accompanied with a lot of grief because his dad just died. So it isn't super surprising. Also, he left her for his wife. She was going through a nasty divorce. Everybody should have went to therapy. Instead, they got married. So their relationship was pretty treacherous. And this is where I'm going to give the trigger warning about domestic violence. So maybe skip ahead a minute or so. So Priscilla recounts that when she and Davis would argue, he would become very violent. Once she broke her leg on a ski trip, and when the couple argued later, he beat her with her crutch. She even told him, "You're going to end up killing me one of these days." He even went so far to hit Priscilla's daughter, Dee. Priscilla had 3 children when she entered their marriage. They had no children of their own, but he hit Priscilla's daughter, Dee, and broke her nose, and then turned and killed the family cat. He just kept slamming the cat on the ground until it died.
What the
When
heck?
asked about it,
That's terrible.
yeah, no, it was really scary, actually. Listening to them talk about it, I was like, this is really terrifying, actually.
This man is obviously extremely deranged.
Oh, 100%. What? First of all, to catch a cat is already kind of difficult.
If Mrs. Lovett is to be believed, then absolutely.
And then to slam it multiple, what you got to do to slam a cat on the ground? They're so agile. But when he's asked about it, Davis does admit that he did it. He said that he didn't mean to do it. He just lost it. He's like, I just lost it over something Dee did that upset me. He couldn't even tell, he couldn't even say what she did to make him so angry to act out this way. And I think he felt more sorry about killing the cat than he did about breaking her nose. Which, they're both bad.
Yeah.
Both are really, really bad. They did report this incident to the police. It is the only domestic violence situation in the home that was reported to the police. And it's the only one that he says did happen. All the other ones that Priscilla says, oh, he did this, he denies. It wasn't long after that incident that Davis said he wanted to divorce Priscilla. He blamed it over her partying. I guess she really liked to party. She would go out a lot, be out of the house. In his words, she would do things that he didn't give her permission to do. That's scary.
I guess this is the 70s. So
yeah.
So product of the terrible times.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. But even though Davis said he wanted to divorce Priscilla, Priscilla is the one who ends up filing for divorce. And when she files for divorce, she demanded a $50 million settlement, which at the time Davis was worth $100 million. That $100 million in today's money would be $500 million. So she was asking for half of his worth. Davis was furious that Priscilla was asking for this much. He was like, it is ridiculous that she wants half of everything. He claimed that she, quote, brought nothing into the marriage. However, when you get divorced, you split assets evenly. And he did not make her sign a prenup, or this would have been null and void. And that's on him. And that's literally the way the law works. So I'm not really sure why he thought he was going to get away with it. But the law was on Priscilla's side. A judge granted that Davis pay her. So when they're going through all of this and they're going to, there's a lot of hearings, a lot of court. This was messy. He did not want to give her this money. And they go to court and the judge grants her even more alimony than she was asking for. He increased her payments from $3,500 per month to $5,000 per month, which would be $27,000 per month today.
Yeah, that'll get you by for sure.
I think she'd be okay.
Yeah, you can buy a pack of eggs with that. Yeah.
Well,
pack of eggs, tank of gas, a Louis Vuitton bag.
Let's see, $27,000 per month. Yeah, that's $324,000 per year. I mean, I think you can survive on that.
Not for much longer. I'm joking.
Not for much longer. Crying tears. The ruling for that $27,000, well, really $5,000 per month, that ruling came on August 2nd, 1976, the same day as the murders. And while he was complaining about this, Davis was making $20 to $30 million per year. So he can afford $324,000 per year.
It's actually not that much comparatively.
No, not at all, really. But back to the other timeline. Back to
the future, Marty.
Yeah, back to the future. Back to I don't know what else to say. Okay. So these murders happen, right? Priscilla runs to the neighbors. All of that happened around midnight. By 4:30 in the morning, police took T. Cullen Davis into custody. Neither he nor his girlfriend, Karen, would give the police information about where he was that night. Karen claimed that she took a sleeping pill, so she had no idea where he was. The state filed capital murder charges, which could lead to the death penalty if he were convicted. He was charged with the murder of Andrea Wilburn and Stan Farr. So this is weird, and I didn't look this up to see if it is still the law, but at the time, Texas law would not allow you to be tried for two murders at the same time. So they had to be done separately. So the prosecution decided to go forward with the murder of the stepdaughter first. They were worried that the jury may side with Davis if they tried him first for Stan Farr's murder, since he was his ex-wife's lover. And they were like, honestly, this kind of just shows how toxic people, like their pool of jurors was, if they were concerned that they were going to side with Davis for killing his ex-wife's lover. Because they're like, well, he was, they were still technically married and he was sleeping with his wife. So,
Nina, we have talked about precedent for that in American law in at least 2 episodes before this. So, I mean, they're not super far off. I mean, those other 2 were quite a bit older in the murder of Sanford White, and then the murder of Harry K. Thaw, right? But yes, it's happened twice before in America, and they got off scot-free. Rich people who killed their ex, like their wife's lover or something.
Yeah.
Or wife's ex.
Yeah, so, they weren't far off. Even though the eyewitness accounts were pretty damning, Davis's lawyers went hard to work to put Priscilla in a negative light. They brought up her past divorces. Davis was her third marriage. They brought up she had associations with drug dealers, with partying. They alleged that she had orgies at the mansion, and so on. Which, I mean, if you have a 2,000 square foot bedroom, why would you not have an orgy?
What else are you going to do in there? Ride a bike?
You can ride a bike and have an orgy at the same time.
Not recommended. You're going to run over somebody's balls.
I mean, what if that's what they want?
Fair enough. I stand corrected.
Yeah. So the defense thought if we paint her as untrustworthy, and her that means that she's untrustworthy in saying that Cullen Davis was the shooter, and it would make her eyewitness account more questionable. I don't really know how having an orgy and your ex-husband shooting your boyfriend really coincide with each other, but that was the angle that they went with.
There's also multiple people that were there.
Well, I was just about to say Priscilla was not the only eyewitness at the scene of the crime. But her defense said that Beverly Bass went along with Priscilla's story because Priscilla had helped her get an abortion a year earlier.
They're just making stuff. They're just tying random shit together. Like this is a cork board with a bunch of pictures and like string on it. Like what the hell?
No, literally, because the whole claim is ridiculous because Priscilla had been shot in the chest and then Gus or Bubba had been shot in the stomach. They didn't have time to come up with this crazy story at the scene.
Like they were really opportunistic about it, but like, oh my God, I got shot. This is a perfect time to blame this on my soon-to-be ex-husband.
Tell him it was Cullen. Tell him it was Cullen.
Like,
no, they didn't do that. Like, why would they do that? Also, you weren't wearing a mask. You had on a shitty black wig.
A wig is a mask for the top of your head, Nina. So,
yes, you're right. The defense also claimed that Priscilla was maybe never the intended target that night, that it was just supposed to be her boyfriend, Stan Farr, because Farr owned a honky-tonk that had drug associations. So the defense claimed that maybe there was a drug deal that went wrong or someone who wasn't a fan of the way that Farr was doing business who committed the murders.
Then why would he kill the daughter?
Exactly.
I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Why would they kill the daughter? Why would they shoot Gus? Why would they shoot Priscilla? They're grasping at straws. They're just trying to come up with anything that they can come up with in order to give Cullen his innocence, give Davis his innocence. The defense also called Davis's now wife, because in between the time of the murders and the trial, Cullen Davis and Karen got married. So they called his wife Karen to the stage. Karen, who originally said that she took a sleeping pill and didn't know where Davis was the night of the murders, suddenly remembered where he was that night. He was asleep right next to her the whole time. She said that because the murders happened around midnight, she was like, I woke up at 12:40 in the morning and he was laying right next to me, so there's no way that he could have committed the murder. So the jury deliberates, and because of the lack of physical evidence, they had no fingerprints, no gun, etc. The jury had to base their entire verdict off of eyewitness testimony. And on November 16th, 1977, Cullen Davis was found not guilty of the murder of Andrea Wilburn after 4 hours of deliberation. With him not being found guilty of the first murder, it was going to be even harder to convict him for the murder of Stan Farr.
That's a short deliberation, too. That's like they didn't even really think about it that long.
Yeah. They were convinced pretty quickly that he didn't do this. So this is not where our story ends. Like many people we cover on this podcast, they just don't know when to quit. So you've been acquitted for murder after 3 eyewitnesses are pinning you to the crime. But the smart thing would to be fit to fade slowly into the shadows and go about living life with your new wife and pay out the spousal support that you're supposed to pay out. But that's not what T. Cullen Davis did. T. Cullen Davis went back to work at his oil company, and the divorce settlement continued. They were still in court fighting about what he was going to pay Priscilla.
That's so crazy. Like, imagine having, like, you're pretty sure this man shot you, and now you have to go, now that he's been acquitted for the murder of your daughter, you have to go see him in divorce court and be like, yeah, no, okay, well, at least now pay me X amount of money per month. I would just, like, die, probably.
Imagine the trauma that woman went through. Like, first of all, not only the trauma of being in an abusive relationship, that's huge. Not only witnessing your ex-husband kill your daughter and your boyfriend, but then have him be found not guilty for those murders, or I should say allegedly killing them. But then to have to face him in court over and over and over again to get the money that no. Terrible. But in the spring of 1978, Cullen Davis approached his friend and employee, David McCroy, asking him if he could help him get some people killed. He wanted McCroy to arrange a hit on 15 people. He specifically wanted him to throw a grenade at Priscilla's car so that people would think that the death was drug related. I don't know how often people are throwing grenades. And I don't know how often drug dealers are throwing grenades, but pretty specific plan. He also wanted Bubba and Beverly Bass killed. And he wanted the judge of his divorce case killed.
Okay.
And what?
I said, okay, damn, that's a jump. He's like, okay, these people accusing me for murder. And also that fucking judge. You're like, buddy, calm down, man.
He said, that fucking judge, I was only supposed to pay $3,500 a month in spousal support, and he's going to make me pay $5,000? Kill him. Kill him.
It's crazy, man.
It is crazy. 15 people? That's insane. Davis threatened to kill McCroy if he didn't comply with his requests and told him that if he kept him alive, he would know too much. So if you don't go along with my plan, I'm going to kill you. So at first, McCroy didn't think that he was being serious. I don't know why he didn't think he was being serious. But then during the conversation, Davis ends up admitting that he killed Andrea and Stan. So Davis does say that he never said that he never would have had that conversation with McCroy, that he's making it up, but I believe McCroy. But McCroy was not putting up with Davis's blackmailing and him admitting that he killed Andrea and Stan. And he actually went straight to the FBI and told him about how Davis wanted him to put out a hit on 15 people. Law enforcement was skeptical at first, but then they ended up orchestrating a sting where they wired McCroy. Now, this is kind of cool. So the way this whole sting operation worked, the judge who was presiding over the Davis's divorce case, his name was Judge Joe Eidson. He played along really well with this. So they had Judge Eidson lay dead in the trunk of a car. And so then the police photographed the staged death, and then they printed the photograph out, and then they gave the picture to McCroy to give to Davis, showing him that he completed the hit that was on the judge.
So that's an idea, right? But how do they pitch these things to come up with, like, there had to be an easier way than be like, I don't know, let's get the judge to play dead in the back of a trunk. Like,
it had to be a little bit fun.
Like, couldn't they just wire up McCroy and then have him, like, agree to the hit and just talk to him about the details? Like, why did they have to be like, Why'd they have to do this? It seems like they just wanted to do this because they thought it was fun.
They wanted to do it. I think one person was like, wouldn't this be fun? And then they were like, let's see if the judge will do it. And then the judge was like, I think the judge hated him, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think he liked him. So then I think the judge was like, I don't like this guy. Absolutely, I'll play along. So he did it.
Crazy.
It's pretty funny. So they print out this picture. McCroy shows Davis the picture, and Davis handed him an envelope containing $25,000 and a pistol with a silencer on it.
Big envelope.
The discussion, there was a discussion then about taking care of the rest of the hit list, and it was videotaped and audio recorded for the FBI. The police then arrested Davis shortly after at a payphone. They charged him with solicitation to commit capital murder, and he was held without bail. On July 30th, 1979, the murder solicitation trial began. So he hired a similar defense team. I don't know if it was exactly the same, but it was like no, what's the word I want to say? Like, he pulled out all the stops for his defense team. Like, there was no expense spared. He would get the best of the best. And to be fair, that's probably why he got away with it the first time. So the defense team claimed that Priscilla had tried to frame him again, and that he had not put out a hit on any of the people like McCroy alleged. They said that McCroy was in cahoots with Priscilla in framing Davis because Priscilla had told him, if you go along with me, this is all made up. This is all made up by the defense. But they claimed that Priscilla told McCroy that if you go along with this, I will give you part of my divorce settlement. Which, why would he do that? He's friends with Davis. McCroy even said, I was better friends with Davis than I was with Priscilla. And he was on Davis's payroll. He was his employee. Priscilla didn't give him money. Priscilla didn't pay his bills. Davis paid his bills. Why would he want him to be in jail? Doesn't even make sense. The first trial that they had, Davis did not take the stand. They did not question, the defense did not have Davis go on the stand at all during his murder trial, but they had him go on the stand during this trial. And while on the stand, he claimed that he got a call in August of 1978 from someone claiming to be an FBI agent that had told him that McCroy and Priscilla were going to frame him for putting out a hit on 15 people, and that he needed to play along with it. However, when he was arrested, he didn't mention that to the police. So he was like, oh, yeah, I knew that all along. I knew that they were going to do that. And I was never actually going to put a hit out on people. I was just playing along that they wanted me to put a hit out on people.
So it was just his crazy improvisation skills that got him to put $25,000 and a gun with a silencer in an envelope, being like, this is what I do. I'm going to really play along and do whatever I can to help this investigation by handing him a weapon and a bunch of money. That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, and the shit out of this.
He's like, oh, I've been dying to do something like this. Absolutely.
It's like, this sounds like so much fun, actually. Let me put $25,000 in an envelope. Something else that the defense did was they brought in a man named Dr. Roger Shy, who was a linguist, to analyze the tape that the FBI got. In the video, the linguist points out that when McCroy and Davis are having the conversation, that leads to him admitting or at least going along with saying that he put this hit out. The linguist points out that McCroy is the one who brings it up first, not Davis. And then he also said that this shows that McCroy had an agenda to frame Davis. And he claims that when Davis says the incriminating remarks that he says, that he was talking about his sunglasses the entire time. Let me explain. In the tape, in the beginning of the tape, Davis opens out his car door and he's like, where are my sunglasses? He misplaces his sunglasses in the car and he's wondering where they were. He continues in the tape looking for his sunglasses while McCroy is telling him about how the judge is dead, that he completed the hit out on the judge. To which Davis responds, "Good." Now, according to Dr. Shy, when Davis said good, he's not referring to the death of the judge. He was referring to the fact that he found his sunglasses. I think that this is a reach.
But then he handed him an envelope, then he handed him an envelope with a bunch of money in it. I don't understand. Like, what do you mean?
With a silencer.
They paid off this doctor, right? I mean, like,
They had to have.
or this is like a Dr. Oz kind of doctor. Something's funky for sure.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. But unfortunately, on November 9th, 1979, T. Cullen Davis is once again found not guilty. T. Cullen Davis.
This is crazy.
I know, it's insane. He walked a free man, but it did cost him. In total, between the two trials, he paid about $10 million in lawyer fees for his freedom. This brought a lot of for the public. This brought a lot of feelings to the surface about how wealth affects the outcome in the courtroom, and it made a lot of people question the fairness of the legal system. What would have happened if Davis would have only been able to afford a $50,000 lawyer? Would he be a free man? Would they have been able to concoct all these crazy stories? Would they have hired the linguist to say what he said? Probably not. They probably wouldn't have been able to do all of that. However, T. Cullen Davis's wealth did run out. His oil company went under in 1987, and he had to declare bankruptcy. He ended up becoming a salesman and also conveniently became a Christian. And in his Christianity, he says that he has forgiven everybody who blamed him of the murder.
Great, man. Great. Did he ever did he ever at least pull an OJ and be like, we need to find who killed my ex-wife? Or was he kind of like, nah, fuck these people the whole time?
No, he was like, fuck these people the whole time.
That's crazy. That's also a crazy outlook.
The whole time, he was like, they're making this up. I never did that. I never did that. They made it up. They made it up the whole time. He's just like, they made it up. So yeah, he became a salesman and a Christian. And shockingly, his wife, Karen, did stick beside him through all of it. She did end up dying a couple years ago. Forget when, but she passed away. And Priscilla Davis, his ex-wife, after all of that court, all of the court that they went through, after all the things that she went through, she ended up with $3 million after the divorce was finalized, much less than the $50 million that she was originally asking for. And then unfortunately, Priscilla Davis did pass away in 2001 with breast cancer.
Is T. Cullen Davis still alive?
T. Cullen Davis, from what I found, is still alive.
Jesus Christ, just living on spite.
Old. He is old. Yep, he's 92 years old.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad he's still alive with his wife dead. The fact that he had to go through bankruptcy and lose his fortune. But he never should have been a free man, in my opinion. Innocent until proven guilty, or innocent until you buy your way out? T. Cullen Davis still claims his innocence to this day, but many stand steadfast in the fact that he murdered Stan Farr and Andrea Wilburn. No one knows for sure who murdered them, except for the murderer and the victims themselves. But either way, we can all agree that if Davis were a more common man, he never would have gotten off. That That is why we have this podcast. So often the wealthy are held to a standard that common folk are not held to. If you can buy your way out, you can basically do whatever you want without suffering any consequences. If Davis did commit the murders, his bankruptcy was punishment, but it will never bring back the lives of Stan Farr and Andrea Wilburn. And that is our episode. That was our season finale. Season 20 finale.
It's in the books.
White Collar, Red Hands. Yep, in the books. In the books. Another season completed. It goes by so fast every single time. If you liked what you heard and you want more, you can find us on facebook.com/whitecollarsredhands. You can find us on X at whitecollarspod. You can find us on Instagram at whitecollars_redhands. You can find us on TikTok and YouTube at, you guessed it, White Collars Red Hands. If you want another way to support us, you can do so by leaving a review. Most of you are on Apple Podcasts, but Spotify also has a review system as well. We love 5-star reviews. Please give us one. Another way that you can support us is by word of mouth. Telling people about podcasts that you like to listen to are a great way to get us more listeners. And if you love us, you'll send them our way. What else am I supposed to say? Another unfree way to support us is by buying our merch. I am wearing an OG White Collars Red Hands sweater right now. If you want one too, go buy one. You can go to our website, whitecollarsredhands.com, click on the merch tab, and it'll take you over to either Dashery or TeePublic, whatever it is. It keeps changing. If you hear a white collar crime story and you're like, Nina and Kashan need to cover that, send it our way. You can do so by either DMing us or you can email us at whitecollarsredhands@gmail.com. And I think that's it.
Did you do? Yeah, you did word of mouth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next season on another season of White Collars
Red Hands. We did it. Season finale. We did it.